and whatever I see is smiling at me. Love is who I am.
So hello there everyone, beloved Ascension pioneers and all you lovers of life, and welcome to May. So this is my Ascension update for the month of May and beyond. So what is new? First thing I have to tell you that during this pivotal time, and we had this, what I can only call a portal, a new opening, was the 3 days of rain. You know, it's like 3 days of darkness. And after those 3 days, it felt like, because I was inside at that time, and that's not really usual for me because I'm outside all of my time if I only can. And then I was indoors for so long just channeling my drawings, these cosmic drawings I've been doing lately for my book. And when I went outside, I almost had like this feeling of awe, you know, before you step out into the world and the world is new and you don't know what waits for you. That's how the energy felt. And when I went outside yesterday for the first time, the energy was still not stable. It was still stabilizing. And a lot of us who are here doing this work for Gaia, with Gaia, we're doing it with Gaia, pardon me, and it had this feeling of I need to help to stabilize the energy, and that's what we're doing. So after that, I've been just, you know, I was on my run and I've been receiving these new updates because whenever, you know, that's my running process, is actually meditation, is we're receiving these new upgrades. And it's like through breath, you're cultivating, you're receiving from this higher resonant attunement because you're resonating with a higher frequency. So you're getting those waves from, you know, these higher expanded spaces of awareness. And I've received this message that, you know, as I've been doing Ascension updates for so long, and then I've also been doing Galactic updates, that now even Ascension updates that I've been doing will be kind of like in 2 parts. So we're going to do 2 videos this month at the beginning of the month. First one is the one you're watching now, and this is an Ascension update, which is more focused on the energies and those beings who are still ascending in their ascending modes for all of us basically, but it's more based on the Ascension, the collective energies, the work we're doing, the work that's still in a requirement for us to do, whereas the Galactic update will be an even more expanded vision for those of you, because what I received is a lot of us already ascended. We live in ascended states. We've crossed the threshold, which was our 3D, which is basically the holographic imprint, that we've kind of managed to transcend now. We're still living in those bodies because it's through our earthly vessels we channel forth this new divine light. But what's happening is, you know, like many masters who were cultivating life force to activate the life force through the living light body, which is the inner state where the beginning of the light body is in alignment and resonance with the 5th density frequency. So when you attune to that, you start bringing that light from your light body, merging it in this cosmic convergence with your physical plane of being, which is your earthly vessel. You merge that with your elements. And mastery is always about finding that fine-tuned resonance between your earthly body, which is the vessel you kind of require for you to have your mission here. Because there's those of us who made these vows to stay on Earth with Gaia for a certain amount of time, to be here present, to give the gift of our greatest soul gifts, right? So that's what we've been doing and fine-tuning in that. So to find just the right balance of that optimum of life force flowing through the light body and then merging it with our physical bodies. So those of you who've ascended, who are living in an ascended form, what happens for me all this time is I'm noticing, pardon me, there's so many people around now. It's hard to find a lone spot because it's first May holidays here, and usually there's no one here in the Alps, and now there's everyone here, everyone coming to holidays and vacations, so it's kind of hard. So if I'm looking around, it's just, you know, scanning if I'm still alone, if we're still here alone. So let me get back on the topic. This ascension required us, this was the first stage of our ascension, is to merge fully with this unconditional love essence, to transmute all our imprints. And those of you who've done that, you've done that, right? So that's why the part which will be more Galactic update will be focused on more volunteer souls, high mission, more terms that not everyone understands, because I have sometimes people telling me that they can't wait to see my videos, and some people say they're too advanced or too much for them, or some people say, at the beginning they had a hard time watching my videos, and now it's in flow. So everyone receives from where they are. We're all existing within this multidimensional framework, and more people are awakening to the fact that this perception of this linear earth-based physical reality, or even just our earthly self, is not all that we are. We're so much more. And we're slowly, gradually, as it fits your reality, as how much you're capable and open to receiving, open to perception, how much you're comfortable with, that's how much your higher self, your bigger oversoul complex will give you. So it's an offering of love. It's not a demand. It's not you're bound to, with that, with time. We're going to talk a lot about the time today and the brain, new wave upgrades and all that. In the Galactic update, it will be more on these higher missions that many who are here as starborn, volunteer souls, these bigger parts and missions that I've been receiving actually through these cosmic pictures, these drawings I've been doing. So when we receive through the light body, right, we receive in a form that is an essence. It's almost like it's a light language that comes through us, and then it comes through the essence of our higher heart. We channel it through the throat area. We bring it into our creative abilities. As you know, the fifth, what we say, well, it's the fifth dimension. What is that? I've always been telling you that's the creative force. It's when you use your divine creativity, which does correspond to this month in particular, because at the beginning of the month of May, our nodes are changing. The moon's nodes are changing from the Virgo, Pisces polarity, Virgo being the north node, Pisces being the south node, which is our past, where we come from, you know, the roots, and then the north node, the direction we're going. So we were all preparing for these missions because Virgo is a diligent worker. It's a servant to life. It's also our health. It's our bodies, our physical bodies, and nourishment for the bodies. And we've been learning to take care of ourselves, because so many people still kind of like separate, you know, planetary ascension, physical ascension, just your personal ascension. But I always tell you, these are not separate. What you do for yourself, for your personal ascension, flows into the core of Gaia. It's connected with planet. That's why it is called planetary ascension, because if you want to ascend with not just the spiritual ascension, but physical ascension, which is the transmutation of the lower body and this carbon-based body prototype into the new vessel, you can only do that by doing it through also the earthly life force. So I've been teaching about this, and I created a course, Tantrika Life course, which so many people have been telling me it's an amazing course, how much they love it. They said, many people said it's my best one so far. And if you are still one of those people who are still ascending, even if you're already ascended, we're still going to do those exercises. It's so crucially important. I'm being shown that, because we're creating new worlds. And those of us who are already ascended beyond that threshold, we're kind of like, it's how I'm perceiving myself. I'm constantly tuning into different dimensions, but I'm still holding my physical vessel. The majority of my consciousness needs to be here because of my earth agreement. And although a lot of us here are volunteer souls, we've had to lower our frequency and the density in which we resided. Many of us were fully operating 12th dimensional galactic beings. And then how do you imagine this galactic consciousness? It's almost like our galaxy, right? That source which you're plugged into, now being held in this physical body. So it's more like, it's still perceived in the level where we're physical beings. It's almost like a little bit from here, a little bit from there. It is bits and pieces of that multidimensionality. It's not still full multidimensionality, fully operational, because then we're already be levitating and all these things. But it's little pieces here and there, as much as we, like I said, for that rightful balance of how much our physical vessels are able to hold, that much Kundalini fire will be, you know, kind of like pulling that up and coming back into our body, because the true Kundalini awakening and resurgence of that light is flow. It's not just upward moving. It comes back in your body in a, you know, in a rejuvenated form. That's all in my Tantrika Life course, but especially the second part, which is the Life Pulse Mastery, which is what I'm going to be focusing this Ascension update all about. The brain, the higher receptivity, the physical, but this higher physical spiritual being so many of us have moved through. So when I was doing these channelings, right, I was actually tuning into this bigger cosmic part of me, and the language was light language, and how I encoded it and then decoded it was through these cosmic images. And I've been only sharing it with one of my really closest friends, two of them, and my mother, of course, because I know they're pure. And I'm not going to share this until it's all complete. Probably I'll do a video with all the pictures and so on, it's complete, to show you, and then it's going to be a part of my book, and you can work with the images and print them out or whatever. But it's been so high in the language. It's been higher dimensional light, And those people have said to me that it's amazing because these images feel like home. It's like home to them. And I hope they will, you know, spark that up in people who are still walking the path of divine remembrance, and that's how they felt to me. So when I was drawing, I was with the process. I couldn't get out of it. I was so in it, I couldn't leave the picture. I started doing it, and one drawing was like over 3 hours long. It's a process, right? First the sketch, and then all the detail work, and you're constantly transmitting because it has to be aligned. It's not like you're just doodling and, you know, just like drawing, you know, just like with the ego. It's this higher transmission, and you have to be very present with it. So when I'm focused with something, it's all of my awareness is there. And at that time, I'm so with it, I don't do other things. And that's not the same as not being, people say we're multi-operational, multi-dimensional, multitasking. Yeah, but multitasking is more egoic. Multidimensional is not the same as multitasking, because multitasking is oriented more in the perception that you're reaching out for goals. You are progressing, you need to achieve goals, which is still an attachment. It's still mentally based. Because what I was shown when I was doing this, a part of me, which is that egoic self, was like, oh, you have to have these pictures finished, you know, and the people with their demands, oh, when's your book gonna be over, blah blah. And then you fall into that ego, even if it's just from others, you're tuning into that part, which still operates within the logical time structure, which is not the same as divine logic, which is beyond time, beyond linear time, operational divine logic. And you can feel that. And I was shown that this attachment to producing, to outcomes, to even achieving and completion is, for the lack of better term, it's the incompleteness within ourselves. It's like the part that's always searching. You know, it's almost like people who say, I'm lost, what's my purpose? I'm searching for something, even another person or whatever it is. I can't find myself, I don't know where I belong in the planet. It's a reflection in the physical world of something within you that's still incomplete, but it's a false perception. When I was doing the pictures, I was remembering how once, many years ago, someone, a more new agey person, said to me one day, oh, I have these pains. I'm like, what are they, physical pains? And they said to me, no, they're my pains from the first separation from source. And I'm like, okay. And I remember a few years back, even I made a video about that, and I'm thinking, why did I make that? It's just because that other person spoke about it, but that never fully resonated with me. And then I was tuning into this Arcturian material, which was very pure because it's non-linear, non-time based. It's purely in the now. It's of higher light language and understanding of service to the whole, oriented in universal unity consciousness. And I was seeing just, yes, we always have this perception, we are from source. Where do you come from? We are from. And we forget the crucial truth, because that's the illusion we still have. No matter how much you perceive yourself as an enlightened being, this is still an illusion that you're from somewhere, that you're from source, because that's still, in a way, there's a veil there that's separating you, and that's falsely created. That's a matrix you created to experience perhaps separation, and we've all collectively been dreaming that, because, you know, reality is based, like, you have your own reality. Then if many people join in together and many people hold a vision for something, in the end it materializes in a greater collective consciousness as well. So if we have certain technology on the planet, it's because enough people in their perception perceive that that's the truth, that this can happen. You know, like, we don't have teleportation because most people say, oh, that's just science fiction. And we have this collective perception, and the threshold is not crossed in dimensional template, so we don't know, right? And we say it's fiction, so we can't hold that. So it's the same here. So many people believe in the separation, and then separation comes into particular existence. But those of us who are peaking beyond that, we're moving beyond that, and those of us who've already ascended, we're not ascending anymore. Although, don't forget, this is not a completion process. Like I said, in the physical body, you're not fully multidimensionally consciousness oriented, like it's not fully functional. Okay, so you have a delusion if you think I'm fully operational in the multidimensional awareness. It's an awareness, but it's not yet fully functional in the physical embodiment. Okay, so that's the difference. So it's bleeding through as much as our bodies are capable of handling and holding that vibrational space of becoming a reality. Okay, so now there's people coming, and I'm gonna have to make a break for a while. Come back soon. So anyway, where were we? I was saying that what's happening is that our body will always tell us where we are, how much we can embrace that as our embodiment. But our consciousness is, once those of us who've crossed the threshold, because we needed to go first through, you know, this dark night of the soul awakening, dealing with our fragmented aspects, which were just perceived as fragmented, right? Because, like I was saying, we're not from source, we are source itself. Life is all that is. Because when you ask the most pivotal question, what is the divine? What is God? What is the creation of all life? It's I am all that is. It's everything. It's not just something, right? It's not just some deity. It's not just some God. So when we were moving and it's like integrating those aspects, those of you who've crossed this threshold, and I was shown, many of you already ascended, but maybe a lot of you are not aware. And I made many videos with the topic of explaining how you can feel that. It's the most simple way of how I can explain it is you feel limitless. You're constantly creating anew. You don't perceive yourself in time anymore. You exist out of time. So you're always in the now. You're walking in the now. You're grounded in the now. We've had this as a concept for so long, but people didn't embody it. It became like this catchphrase, oh, living in the now, you know, this new age, multidimensional new agey perception. But in truth, it's really becomes the essence of life when you don't reach for something, because that is the reaching for an attainment or a higher version of you, or being more spiritual, or being more ascended. Or so an ascension update is always where we are now. It's beyond what we need to pursue to be more ascended. So that's the true now, is where you are now. It's basic reality. It's very grounded. A lot of esoteric people, they're not really grounded. They're not living in this reality at all, and they're constantly pursuing something to be more spiritual, to read more books. They're not really being in the presence with that which is crucial, the vital, the life force, and that's that which truly does ascend us. So today I was meditating during my run, and I thought I made all my pictures, right? Because I had first this vision of 13 cosmic activations within the book, and then they expanded to 15, and then it's more. And it's like, how many, right? But I don't know. That's the beauty of life. It's a mystery. It's such a mysticism of life. There's like this constant surrender you have to go through, and that means being an ascended being. You don't, sorry, I think there's some mosquitoes here still in the third density. So you kind of perceive yourself outside of time. You're just creating with what feels organic to you in this moment through the pulse of life. And because the pulse of life always guides me, sometimes the ideas that I still feel as an egoic concept, and people who say I don't have an ego, they're an illusion, because as long as we still hold those bodies, we do have them, because they're almost like our love child. They were a product of so many eons. And it's more about how enlightened we are in our ego perception, is how much love we have for that aspect of us that we say it's ego. So now with what I would say, the nodes moving into the Leo-Aquarius polarity, Leo being the north node, Aquarius being the south node of the moon, which is the past. So this Leo is in a way individuality, but it's not like Aries kind of individuality, which is fight or flight, you know, compensating for things or fighting over things. Leo is actually a very service-oriented sign when it's in that royal facility of itself. And it's amazing because right at this time we're approaching the 0 degree of the Virgo nodes before it shifts into Leo, and that really does kind of like relate in the conjunction with the royal star of Regulus. I think the royal star of Regulus is around 29 degrees of Leo. So that's where we are now. That's a royal degree. We can all feel that, this royal self, which is the House of Kings, which basically what I perceive as our royal self. So when I was doing my drawings, I made this image of the new human, which is just different layers of you. So you have what you perceive your physical vessel, then you have this higher essence, which is your light body, and then you perceive, wow, this is my ET self, right? How we perceive ETs, but that's all aspects of us. It's not separate. So you see, we're all of source. We are source. We're not from source. That was the illusion. We're of source. We're not from source. So mix the letters a bit and change it a bit, and you'll see it changes the pivotal essence of who you are, and how we're supposed to live in this new ascended self and assist the planet, assist with the planet. So with this alignment, we can really do our tasks with royal creativity. And for me, those drawings were that, because when I was in them, I felt this home. I was so held and nurtured. I couldn't stop doing it. It was amazing. Already, in a way, it took so much work, but I felt amazing doing it. And it didn't feel like work. It felt like, oh, I love doing it. It's so joyful. Sometimes late hours, you know, late night hours, but it felt great. It felt like this is my home. This is the frequency. And this is the essence, because I got these new cards. Sorry, I'm very hyper today. This is how I am with every cosmic upgrade. They're called the cosmic reading cards. from Nari Anastasia. Cute name. But they're cute cards, very cosmic, and I pulled one for this month, and it's limitless. This is exactly what I'm talking about. And although Leo sometimes is perceived like, you know, lion, you know, it's just me, the king of the jungle, that's an aspect of us which is kind of like I'm rich and it's my, you know, kind of like royalty when I rule. The true Leo is on a higher level, because remember, each archetype has a higher and lower octave. How you choose to embody that will create your reality, and with that creation of your reality, you are a part of the collective reality, so you assist the whole. So everything you invest in yourself, you do for yourself, you do for Gaia, you do with Gaia. Again, you're not separate, you're not from Gaia, you're now with Gaia. You chose to have your embodiment with Gaia now, with this planetary essence and the physical planetary aspect, which we say it's Earth. It's the planetary existence and embodiment. Although, like I said, you have this light being, and you would say that's the ET self. It's kind of like this expansion, right? Well, my drawing had much more layers, and then you have what you would call the angelic self, and then even bigger self, and then the golden luminary self. And all these aspects are aspects of us, and that's going to be all in my pictures once they're all available. So I won't share them until the process is complete, and the Pulse of Life will tell me when it's complete. So with this Leo, like with the higher octave of Leo, and this is, you can feel this month, tune into what you're going to feel for yourself. You can feel this greater attunement to life, creativity. That's the heart of the lion, the higher heart activation. For those of you who haven't yet done that, I had many videos on that, because the physical ascension portal is the higher heart. If you're not unconditionally loving all aspects of you, including what you would say that the densest or the most egoic or whatever, then you're still in denial, you're still in illusion, you're still in separation, because you're keeping that aspect from the side and you're saying, no, I'm better than that. There's many great beings and teachers who've been talking about that. We've been recently reading a lot of Krishnamurti, and he was saying all those same things in his own language. So people who serve unity consciousness, they will always present same truth from different facets, right, of life, from different angles of viewing. And we all need that, because each one needs something on a level we're evolving. So sometimes people will watch my videos and they'll resonate with that, and they go away for a while and they maybe come back, and it's what you need in each particular essence of your now, where you are. So I feel this time of the Leo gives us this great opportunity to be truly artistic in a greater way. And for me, that started happening exactly as the nodes already started to shift towards that polarity. It was a beautiful process. What else can I share about this month on an energetic level? So what happened is, you know, each month usually I have, as you might know it, I have my book with me. But you know what happened today? This was a strong message of this process. I usually write down, you know, little kind of like dots of what I'm going to be talking about, so in case I don't forget anything. Because if I don't do that, I can get like I am now. You see, I talk something, I jump to something else, I jump again. That's how I am all the time. Because that's our non-linearity. That's how kids are, right? Kids talk about something, jump to something else, but they're back, they're fully present. Doesn't mean they're not attentive. It just means they're different. So what happens is different in a good way and how they are really different from most people who perceive linear. That's what I meant. So I bring the book and I'm like, okay, what I'm gonna write down? Oh, no pen. Okay, that's a message. It means that truly this month, for those of you who are ascended in that format of how I can say, because recently this new energy wave, watch my videos before this one, I talk about this new galactic wave, new cycle, triggered us into this whole new rewrite. That's how I felt, because it felt like my perception was going this way and then it's weighed me off, but it felt like that. The ego might feel that, but it's not the truth. You're always like this, you're always in a spiral. It's just a part of you that felt you're going in a linear, people say choose a direction. What is the only direction? People say true north. In an ascension, it's not even true north, it's a spiral. So all of our body has been shifting into the spiraling galactic consciousness. That's what my galactic update will be about. Those of you who've reached this level, when you're now going to start tuning into more and more galactic aspects of you, it's going to be pretty intense and amazing, and I hope I have to make some drawings, some drawing conclusions about that one, because it's simply too much coming through. And it can be too scattered if I don't kind of ground it with the writing. But I guess today that was presented for a message, for a reason, where we are now. We don't have to go from, aha, I have to talk about this and in a linear fashion. It's, I I trust that what comes through is coming from the pulse of life directly. It doesn't need an intermediary anymore. So it's like people need confirmations and gurus and even ascension gurus and whatever. Now you're becoming fully sovereign from within. That's your key pivotal point. And for this threshold we've crossed, it feels like a constant resurgence. It's no longer a recycling of energy. You're pulling from that and you're in the spiral of life. So you're not choosing directions. It's not linear fashion, right? It's a unification of all yourselves, all your embodiments. For those of you who had perhaps several embodiments here on Earth, some of us didn't. It doesn't matter. We had other embodiments. We were summarizing those just the same way. And this summary, this synthesis, this reorganization in a spiraling fashion is what is creating us like this new human being, which is a prototype. And what does this mean? I've talked about this before, that we're all prototypes. We're this template of what can be. It's how much our bodies can be without leaving this plane of existence. Like many masters, when they ascended before, like I said, the earth didn't hold the frequency before, so they ascended spiritually. Many did with the body, but it's not like they stayed with this reality and assist, because it wasn't time. Now we have these agreements and contracts, especially volunteer souls, to stay here. But we had to done the imprinting just like everyone else, and that's what my book about volunteer souls would be all about. I'm focusing this month of May as well to write the book. I've been doing the drawings now for 2 weeks. It's been quite a process, and it's all a process. It's gradual, and you can't force it. You can't force no aspect, right? So today I was laughing at myself because someone sent me an email and they said, well, Polona, did you consider people taking pre-notice, like pre-orders on your book? And I'm thinking, that's funny, because I can't do that, because that's again projection on the future. Pre-orders, that means like future, right? I don't know. I don't know even how the format's gonna come. I don't know. I'm with the unknowing. I'm with the unknown. And for most people, it's scary, and most people see it like a linear process. But for me, where I am in my embodiment, I have to embody what's right for me. And I was laughing at myself. I said, I can't do that. No, no way. It wouldn't be in alignment with the resonance of the frequency embodiment that I hold. And those of us and those of you who are ascended, we're feeling life so differently now. And we've even had awareness like expanded like always, even since we were much younger. But now it feels like how I felt for myself. I'm going to give you this one example is I always did art, right? But I remember drawing as a little girl, always drawing with the color pencils, right? And then I did a lot of the paintings with the acrylic colors and stuff, and it's how I do my light grids with the crystals. But doing like paintings, like even I did mastery portraits, right? And whenever I had to use the paints and the brush, it didn't feel so aligned with me. And I like doing it, but it wasn't that full joy. And now when we return to pencils, and the reason why I didn't do that with the color pencils is because the aspect of me coming through the programming from the collective, because people always say drawings, it's kids stuff, right? Kids do with drawings, or kids do these colorings, and it felt like less than. But then I started using it like in an organic fashion, and it just flows. It was like magic for me. And I showed it just to those few my closest connections I have here. And they all said it's amazing. And my mom says these are energetic pictures. And the ego might say, well, there's other people doing this, and why there's so much of that anyway? Why would you do that, you know, undermining you? But you're like, yeah, it's okay. I know I'm doing this. The higher being, the more expanded you, that's more and more living in this body knows. And so the voice of that undermining or linear or completion based, or you got to do it this way, that way, is just like an echo. It's becoming more of a little echo. It's not like you're pushing it away. You're embracing it, you're loving it, and that's why it's becoming an echo. Not because it's an echo that you suppress and it becomes a subconscious voice, which is not an echo. It's like, when I say an echo, it means like distant, like more and more dissolving and withdrawing, more and more integrating and becoming a merged, combined self, your unified self. So I realized, I was like, I found myself. This is me. This is how I do it. I feel it flows for me. And it's like, that's the Leo aspect I feel, this royal self. And the notes changing there, each one of us has now this opportunity to find the resonance with our core self. How we create, how we produce art, how we translate the frequency of this higher dimensional space known as the New Earth. And it's like we're bringing messages of home, receiving it here through our unique language. It's almost like a translation of the light language, which comes through our light body, and moving through our physical core with the higher expanded throat area, through the higher heart and the expanded throat. And it's like a constant spiraling of energy. It's waves and waves. And like I said, sometimes you're like here, the wave carries you here because it's a spiral. It's not like lines, right? It's not like line drawings. And you feel you're here. I always feel I'm deeply grounded. But then parts of me go in tune and get these messages. Here, a little from here, oh, a little from here. And that's what this is about now in this multi-expanded galactic consciousness, which will be more addressed in the galactic update. But I want to say now here, the importance of grounding and anchoring the energy as well. First thing, like I said, being within the now, not just living in the now, but within it, like you are the now. You are the expression of you that comes organically in this present moment. And why so many people can, when they're not yet fully ascended, they can't perceive channelings or, you know, incoming messages from those beings that are still just within the astral planes, or just, you know, like physical human to human or astral planes, but they're not higher ascended planes from 5th dimension and above, is how you easily recognize it. I always tell you, it's if it's anything prediction based, fear based, fear mongering, it's all coming still from the perception of time, because the prediction is linear time. Oh, that would happen, or this could happen, you know. And recently these Arcturians, through these messages, have been saying you can say this to empower yourself and the collective. When something fearful comes to you, or people want to present their portion of the matter, you can simply say, I refuse this. I refuse to create this reality. I create this, because you have this right to use your own discernment, okay? So what is happening is that people don't yet perceive, they don't yet see. When you're fully ascended, you see. I can see through anything. I can see any veil. It's like I will feel whether it's from the ascended realms, from Illumined Truth or not, because it feels unified. It's not fragmented. It's not giving you little portions and feeds you these bits and pieces, but it's just to coerce you. And it's like you're going down a rabbit hole, or you're going around in a loop, and it makes you feel confused. It's supposed to make you feel expanded. Like when you listen to something, it's like your energy goes out. So when I was doing my drawings, I was listening to some of the conferences from Dolores Cannon. I was tuning into these Arcturians from Suzanne Lee. It was amazing. It's like your energy feels like it's going out. And every time I made a drawing, it was in alignment with something, or it was all in concurrent now time. No projection, no fear. When's this supposed to be completed? How this supposed to look like? It's pure ascended realm in you. You're living prototype reality, but holding this physical vessel. So you're grounded and you're holding it, right? But why is it so important to ground this, to anchor this? Is because the energy sometimes is so intense, and when we don't do that, we get symptoms like fatigue, feeling so tired, drained, or we get hypersensitive, hyperactive sometimes, and the energy can't flow. It's like too much. Whenever you feel that, or heart palpitates too much, just do any kind of ritual that comes through you naturally, organically, because anything else is a method, and a method is not your ascended self. A method is a means to something you think you should do or should be aligning with to be in a certain state. It's not organically to you. Ask the life pulse, and then naturally feel drawn to something or in resonance with something without trying, without pushing. It's natural to you. Anything that works. But just remember, anchor and ground the energy. And when you feel too it's like too in it, too fatigued, sometimes the energy, too much of energy, the body is too wired, we say, right? Or there's this hyper sensitivity to a nervous system. Watch my previous video on the nervous system and the upgrades and how it's changing into a spiraling one. And when this happens, the body goes sometimes through reboots. It's like a computer, because the holographic versions of us, that's no longer just this 3D, it's expanding. It's amazing. It's shifted so much from this linear to a spiral. I mean, I can't tell you. I just noticed within my own embodiment, it's shifted. It's just in a few years. It's amazing what kind of progress in such a short timing. I mean, it is short. It's like a blink of an eye, right? To our galactic selves, it's even less, you know. For us, it feels still long, but it's not. So sometimes with this reboot, what will happen, as I've noticed this when I was doing these drawings, and the energy was so intense, like I said, this new wave of energy came through, and for that time being, the cosmic rays were really intense, and there was lots of solar activity and solar energy. And one day I just felt this pain in my back for no reason. I just got up, ow, you know, And I had this feeling it's just from this nervous system upgrade. I went to take a long bath. This was on the new moon day. We had a beautiful new moon in Taurus. And then what happened is just was very quickly gone. It was just like, oh, I felt better. And then this happened the same way to my mother, but she got it more badly. She was more intense than that. And she needed more assistance. So anytime, don't forget, you can call into teams that specify in that. And anything to deal with the body, the light surgery, it's always best to call into Arcturian light fleet, light collective, I would say, because it is a collective energy. It's like a force field of this higher attuned frequency. So it's almost like you have your own specialization. We all do. I mean, I have it too. And mine is this physical knowledge, is the life force. That's why my tantric courses, people say it's the best so far, because it's my domain. It's like my specialization. And people have really been sending me nothing but praises. So yeah, thumbs up. Thank you so much for your feedback, guys. And that's why those of you who are still ascending, is so important to do that work, to do the mastery, and consider taking the Tantrika course. Even if you feel already so much rooted in this, there is always something new there for you. It always is, if that is the calling. So when my mom had that reboot, it was a little stronger, and I instantly had this surge and urge, and I told her, just, you know, call in this. And I felt how much she was worked on, and all of a sudden, you know, it just took a few hours, she felt better. So sometimes when this happens, we can just say, oh, it's gonna happen, you know. It's like, it's not like you're controlling it, but you're doing all you can in your physical body to support the physical existence, because our bodies need all the nourishment, all the support, so they can be, whew, how many mosquitoes, they can be the beautiful light vessels to translate these higher energies through. Okay, still noises, still people, lots of energy. So again, I'm going to show you this card. I'm guided to show this limitless, right? That's the expansion. I can't wait to show my own images, but I don't do things before they're complete. So no previews yet, okay? So that's kind of like something we have to do so far. Yeah, stabilizing, anchoring the energy, that's really important what's coming through. But I want to also say that some of the things I usually stress in my Ascension updates, something about the frequency. So okay, let's go there. So I'm making it without my notes now. You can see the difference. Tell me if you like it more. If I'm too fast, just pause the video, come back to it, you know, just take your own time. You don't have to be as fast as I am. It's just my nature, you know. It's kind of hard to not be like I am. Then I'm trying to be a certain way. It's like relating to myself as I'm supposed to be, then I'm not really myself, you see. So that's really the new, is go with what you are, and people can adapt to it. We're very adaptable. So what we've been learning, yes, it's the adaptivity of our body, how much we are able to produce this light, but it does sometimes require work, right, and diligence. So this month, let me see. Oh, last month we had 14 adding up to 5 frequency month. This month we have 15 adding up to 6. That's the alchemy number. You know, I'm born on the 15th day in September, and for me that's a pure resonance. So I think this month for me, for doing this completion work, which is completeness in itself, each day, each now moment, is very beautiful. So there's lots of, like I said, opportunity, especially with the nodes moving into Leo. And there's this stillness point between this new wave, this new galactic surge of energy, and before our manifestations become more physical. That's May. May is almost like a transitory month, because as humans we like to think, okay, new energy's here, oh, I'm going to be so sparked up and do this and that. And sometimes it's not like this, or things don't happen the way we thought, and we get disappointed. That's the ego. In truth, energy, especially with such an intensity as it is now, as it came through now, it requires quite like bridging, right? Because even our overall ascension journey here and to be as the seeds of these new prototypes of the new humans is to hold that frequency, and it's always learning to live each day by day, living in both worlds. Not just both and two, but in all worlds simultaneously. That was the mission that many of us have undertaken, to learn to be able to be this galactic being and not give up on that, just descend the main type that became this physical vessel, and still not lose your galactic consciousness, because you don't, because you come from there, not from, sorry. See how quickly we get in that zone, because our language has been programmed so much even that way. So in this higher expressions, which is now with this nodal attunement more into Leo, it's the higher heart creativity, anything of the higher creative, playful creativity, childlike creativity, because that's also the essence of children, and romance, which in truth, true romance is the inner state, when you're like in love with life, when you're creating with life. So you're creating with Gaia, you are assisting Gaia as Gaia assists you. Gaia provides the elements, so you have the body, you give back. So energy comes to you, you put energy back into creation. A lot of people who still live in the old, you're going to quickly notice it when you do, because you're still maintaining, you want to keep the money, you want to grab, me, mine, possess. Because you're fearful you're going to lose it. And what happens? Usually you lose it. Or you, even if you have lots of money or lots of possessions and things or people, you're still living in the fear of what if I lose it? And that fear is becoming a haunting experience. But in this new space, it's freedom. Energy comes, energy goes. You're not attached to anything. People come, people go. Things come, things go. You are the pillar in the middle, amidst it all. So yeah. So it is so important now. This creativity will be the roadblock for the new, this new template. Now it's this alchemical month. There's lots we can create. I'm going to do it more behind the scenes this month because I have so much work on my book, on the cosmic drawings, lots of these things that just keep coming up. There's also these portraits that I did, the self-mastery portraits are going to now shift from me doing it into drawings because there's so much more detail I can do that way. It's just my frequency, and I think the moment you find yourself, things flow within that. And those of you who have been perhaps thinking of getting this fine attunement to your greater galactic portions of yourself, I can do that for you. We can do that. We can totally do that. Just order the self-mastery portrait as always, as before. It's on my mastery page. All the links are down below, and if you can't find it, you can always write me an email. You know where to find me, and ask me, and I'll send you the link. We can totally do that because it's kind of like my specialty. I'm very good at channeling these things, and it's just like a very organic process for me, and I love doing it so much. So that's kind of like a little quick wrap up, and we're going to see if there's something else coming through. I also wanted to do for the final part a little bit of meditation. For us, I was asking what's more important now is tuning into this, what I've talked about in my old versus the new earth, like tuning into this new earth reality. And people ask, how do you feel it? How do you know? It's a lot of us already live in it, in the vibrational state. But like I said, we need these bodies. We need to be anchored here because we have assistance here. But it's the state we live on. It's this free flow of energy. Is your overall self is focused on service to others and the whole. Some people say more than 51% service to others. I would say for volunteer souls, much more. It doesn't matter. It's not a competition. It's just there's a threshold of balance, right? Service to self is only meant for you to be self-sustained, self-nurtured. So you can be a vessel for greater things, for greater missions, but not missions out of ego, like, oh, I have a mission, and others don't. No, not that way. It's a natural alignment with what you came here to be, not just to do. The doing is, you know, one aspect. But the being and the resonance, because when you're holding that resonance, you put it out into the whole. That was the main thing in our ascension. You are with Gaia, so you're ascending with the planetary body, and people are going with the planetary ascension. So it is important. So people who are mistreating the planet, or even if you're just, I don't know, smoking cigarettes and putting them down, and then you have discussions about ascension, well, that's still separation, because you're littering and putting these toxic things in the planet that sustains your life, and it gives you and it offers you this unconditional richness of the supplies of everything and beauty as well. Look at the beauty around you. Look at the beauty where I am. It's amazing. And then you trash, and then you litter, and then you eat things that are not for you to eat as a light human, as a new human. Sometimes people ask me, oh, well, when are you vegan? Well, duh. I mean, how could I be talking about these things and then not be a vegan? I mean, most of the times I don't even want to eat. I just eat sometimes out of the experience, but I feel like I don't want to eat. You know, when I was doing these cosmic drawings, I was channeling, I didn't even want to eat. I was just so fed with this higher sustenance of the self, and it was amazing. So I was shown, and we're going to talk that more about in the Galactic Update, how most of us perceive even our DNA expansion as linear, right? And we say, oh, our DNA is being activated and we're going to have fully 12-stranded DNA here in the body. No, not in the body. When you know the physical vessel can hold and was created to have, like we say, this 7th we would say the seventh density, this would be the highest for us to still have this form and awareness, right? So we'd have it's in alignment with the 7 chakric system. But the higher chakric system means you're activating to this deeper aspects of you. But these higher chakras are outside of the body. But you're bringing the awareness, the illumination of that with the life force in your body, and that's the difference. So sometimes the new agey people are saying weird things, and it's not always like that. You have to be able to ground yourself in the knowledge. You don't just be wishy-washy and say things that they're not true. They're just miscreations. That's not the same as having vivid imagination that's coming as an expression of your vision of the higher, perhaps the 5th dimensional and beyond realms. Comes through light language, through your light body, you manifest it in a certain way through your higher heart, the higher throat, bring it out. That's going to be really our focus now with the Leo nodes till the end of 2018. I remember years back, there was this coach that told me that I'm going to actually start my true mission in 2018 before it's going to be a preparation. And I think those pictures I'm doing now, everything I was doing up until this point and still doing, it is a part of that process. And I never doubted it for one single moment. And even when there's moments when you feel like there's doubt, you are not that doubt. You're just experiencing doubt in the moment. But it's like, it's passing through. Everything that is physical, it's holographic, is just passing through. It's not an eternal reality of your illumined self. So, okay, what did we say? Oh, this month we're going to have, what we're going to have? We're going to have something astrologically. Let me think. I didn't prepare anything. As always, we're going to have lunations. We always have that. What else? We're going to have, I think, then this fire trine. I think people are saying, what is it? Uranus, Saturn, and the North Node. I think that will be that trine, right? It's all going to be about this alchemical creation, pure fire of creation. But do it in a gradual process. Don't be like so infatuated. Oh, I made this. Now I'm gonna, be driven for what to make out of it. That's not our focus. Our focus is to be these expressions of the new earth, the new human self. Then everything should be a reflection of that, as that. Remember, you are source. You're not from source. So when people talk about these pains that come from, oh, my first separation from source, we never separate. Otherwise, you couldn't have form. Because the form is created through source, divine logic, divine word, which is sound and om, and beyond that. And if you separate it from that, you wouldn't even exist. So that's funny. It is funny when you have tuned into this higher galactic consciousness. Sometimes people tell me, how do I know these things? Or they ask me, right? I can't tell you on the mental human to human level. I know that when you tune into your galactic consciousness, it's not you that knows as a human, but you merge with that aspect, which is the higher multidimensional galactic consciousness. And these aspects just speak through you. It's just a constant. It's spiral, right? The spiral evolution of our life. And these cosmic pictures I did, these drawings, they speak so much more beyond words. I mean, when I made one or two or so many coming through, I was like, wow, I can literally see the things I've been talking about, I've been receiving, but they become like living realities when I put them on this paper that way. So it becomes very organic, very real. So that's what we're doing. We're making Ascension real. We're making it a normal thing. We're making it an organic thing that it truly is. And no longer doubting and feeling, wow, we're the weird ones here. Well, people who can resonate, it's because they fear it. They're not in awareness of. But just we put out and we share as much as we feel in resonance with each moment, which with each person will be different. Just go with the flow. Don't feel obligated now to put out the whole truth to everyone. It's not our mission. It's not at the focal point. But it is very important, right? To be in that natural organic flow of your ascended self, service to the whole, service to Gaia as Gaia serves you as one. The planetary ascension, or you assisting the planet, is not separate from you assisting your personal ascension. There is no personal ascension without planetary ascension. That's the thing. People have been putting this separation, but it's not there. It doesn't exist in truth. So this illusion like you're separate from source, those of you who really finally crossed the threshold, there's nothing between you and life and creation and creativity in infinite ways and source, nothing. And if there ever is something, like I said, it's like an echo, it's more and more, it's like just dissolving. So if you want to reach these higher states of consciousness, it is your timeline, it's a natural progression. But if you feel like you really want to move beyond, I highly recommend you to get the Tantrika Life course. If you want, you can also get a personal session with me. I do those. I also now made this offering for people who perhaps can't afford to have those 2 hours there with me, because usually I sit 1.5 or 2 hours, usually 2 hours, a lot of times more. I put all of me. That's what I do in everything. I put all my heart out. And people say I can't afford that, but they still like to receive something that's personal for them. I really love to create courses because they kind of put something that's the truth for all, and we're moving with it, and you will still have an intimate personal relationship with every course I made or everything, because it's still your own intimate experience. That's what Ascension is. It's not like this esoterical imprint of how things should be. It has to become an intimate experience, right? So people will still get this input. And for those that perhaps feel they say I can't afford, or it's not within my range of financial operability at this time, I created these versions of soul attunements, which are spirit transmissions, which again, it's not a prediction, it's not a reading. This is the core of what you need to receive in the moment, and that's how Spirit always shares. I've always told you, Spirit always speaks in the now as life itself. So the more those of you who are tuning into this galactic consciousness, you're feeling that, you're just fully trusting it. You are the pulse of life itself. You are the essence of life itself. So I think that's it. The things I didn't address, I will put into the galactic update. So those of you who fully know your healed volunteer souls, some people have really, the young ones have really been reaching out lately and speaking about how much they value my input, because there's so much of things that feel like dogmatic and old. Like even some of the astrological updates, they feel so determined, and they said they love my transcendental wisdom and what I bring. And my mission is always to create other leaders, create other ascending ones. We are here truly to not create followers. I've always said, I don't ever want followers. If you want to follow me, get out of the line, because that's not what we're here for. We are here to empower each other. That's the main focal point of our service to the others here along the planetary ascension. And that means leaders create leaders, self-empowered sovereign beings create other sovereigns. We help to co-create, we help to support. So it has to be mutual support, because you create a being that will become a part of that whole, and they will put a greater infusion of that divine love, which is an essence of all. I always, when I ask that question, what's beneath, what's the, this and about the universe, and we're going to focus on that on the galactic update, which will be a lot about the brain, what we're having to do now with our brain. That will be the focus point, and it's going to be very excited, and with that scientific and the spiritual and that meaning. So if you're interested, watch that as well. And I wanted to say that, what did I want to say? Let me think. Let me feel. Yeah, it's become really important for us to move beyond these things that we felt, oh, that's spirituality, or that's that. So when we help each other that way to empower ourselves as integral selves, as beings with great soul wisdom that comes with integrity and soul experience, we help to empower each other, and that goes out into leaders creating leaders. And for a lot of us, that was our mission. So if you want to work with me in the personal way as well, you're always welcome. But I always put more focus on working with the knowledge and everything I share in my courses, and you will still have a personal relationship with it, because your own awareness, you perceive it in the intimate way. So when I asked that question, which is what I wanted to say before, but somehow got cut off, is whenever you ask what's beyond, right? What is more? What are we here for? Like scientists are infinitely searching for something outside of themselves, right? Like something created us, but we're so alone and isolated. Why are we here? What's the reason for life? Like in Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, they're searching for it, all these books, and in the end, well, the search of the meaning of life is the number 42. So get that if you can, right? And what this means is, it can be as trivial as something. If you search for something and it's a trivial answer and you're disappointed because we need this greatness, without recognizing that greatness is already here. We are that. Everything that's alive. I mean, look at the Ascension. Look at where you were a few years back, and address yourself now, how you are now, and say, wow. Just for one moment, go out and scream, wow, to the earth, to everything, how much you've transformed and transcended, and how much you help others in their own transfiguration within this alchemical body process. That's our physical ascension. And just say, wow, you know, and that is the meaning of life. Life itself. The meaning of life is life itself. And like Krishnamurti said, he said, universe doesn't have a reason. I exist because this made me or that made me. It's just because it exists, period. And the search for this infinite final answer has gotten some people into extreme things and madness even, and you know, the search of something outside of us. And that's what created all this. It's the separation. It's the illusion that we are from source, but what is that source? Let's have a personal relationship to it, which is a religion, right? Instead of just relating with ourselves, always new, spiral of life. So life is the reason for life itself. And remember this, beyond all knowledge, beyond everything knowledge can conceal, there is divine love. Divine love supersedes, it's ancient, it's this primordial essence of love, life, this love that it's creating itself constantly. So put a label and sticker to that if you can, you know, define that, find a meaning to life in that. You can't, okay? So let's try to tune into that with our final light activation and a quick meditation exercise. And then tomorrow I'll do a galactic update as well, I think, if the fates and the weathers provide. It's a beautiful nature time here, although it's pretty chilly after the recent update, and the nature has been really cleansing. We've had a lot of flooding, but it's been really extremely pure energetically, and I felt like a new world when I stepped out. And people will say, how do you feel that? How do you know? Well, I tune into because I have my own intimate relationship and how much of my consciousness expanded to feel those subtle realms. But if you're not feeling it, don't try to have that come to you by force. Be with where you are. Work with the self, as the self, not for it to gain something, to be more spiritual, to be more evolved. Evolution, again, exists because of itself. It's whole into itself already. Evolution, convolution, you know, convoluted universe. So you are all of that. Life is, creation is, I am all that is. All exists in the now. So all time is happening, not happening like things are happening simultaneously, but they are existing simultaneously, like the great Dolores Cannon says. And I love her and her spirit. And her dedication assisted a lot of us volunteer souls here, helped our awakening journey. So thank you for watching. Let's do the meditation together. And as always, so much love, wisdom, and power. I'll talk to you again soon. Let's enjoy it together in the new. Sweet beloved one, welcome to the essence of New Earth. May you find yourself sitting or relaxing somewhere that really resonates with your soul and your beautiful body, to resonate into the sacred space, to attune to the vibrational essence of the New Earth. Now, the first thing you would like to do is remind yourself that all the aspects that you still may be perceiving as living and existing outside of you are actually all you. All aspects of your greater galactic self that has no limitations, no proportions, no extensions that would be limited and finite in any way possible. So imagine this infinite being of light that you are, that expands beyond your body as this liquid light of your source self, your core creation self. And see within yourself that first tiny little spectacle, tiny little seed of light. But then watch it and grow it, becoming your physical body. And now as you call the highest aspect of your physical body, your highest, most refined state that your physical body is created to exist within, has magnitude and alchemy to exist within. And then call and feel within yourself your auric body, which would be your fourth dimensional self. But then extend and super extend even beyond it and feel your fifth dimensional light being body self, the pure source of your infinite liquid creativity, limitless creativity, heart-based creativity, heart-centered creation of source, and all the limitless ways through which you can co-create within the New Earth. Now go even beyond that and call in your geometrical patterns of light sixth dimensional self. It has these beautiful divine geometrical patterns of divine logic and how it recreates life always in you, and call that aspect as you within yourself. And now expand even beyond it and go into your 7th density self, your angelic self, your true soul self. And as you feel all those levels completed, you feel that there's this great opening, this portal of liquid light that connects you directly with your golden self, your luminescent self. And watch now how your DNA becomes a rainbow formation, how your upward moving DNA holds this light that is all the colors of the rainbow, including from that which you would call the infrared self, the lowest point of our density perception, and how that through the evolution of all the colors of the spectrum that are never separate, never have been separate, there's an illusion of separateness of these colors. They're all one color of light. They're all of source. And now see how this also super extends to the ultraviolet, the higher perception state, where we receive from these higher upgraded selves, our altered selves. And see all these colors blending together as one, creating a white pillar of light, your ascension pillar of light. And this now expands your DNA, your light DNA that influences and always creates your physical DNA. Lifts it up through the creation breath of life and all the life force, through the spiritualization of the life force that is infinite and limitless, and how that moves you into a space of getting to feel this ultra vibration of this liquid light, pure golden self that is the gatekeeper to these higher realms. And now feel into this. Feel like almost you are crossing the threshold. You are moving through beyond the veil of what is a certain temporary perception, and you're moving into this eternal perception of you as nothing but the essence of source. And feel into that becoming all the various threads of almost like synapses in the brain, but these are synaptical nerve systems within the higher divinely ordered structure of our galaxy and the universe and then beyond. See how you're traveling these waves and waves and particles of energy through almost something you could call the cosmic stairway, a starway perhaps, yes. Through many different constellations and star systems and different journeys, and they're all a part of you. They're all a part of the experience, and yet you are not merely that experience. You're everything. You are the observation of life, life itself, the creation of life, simply everything, and it all unfolds in front of you as the liquid light of source. It's the highest way we can perceive it at this time. And you have no worries what's beyond it. You have nothing captivating you to a certain limited reality perception. There's only this liquid light, being you, merging with you, wanting to create through you, being the pulse of life that is you. Now take a deep, relaxing breath as you're walking to and through this stairway, this cosmic stairway, more and more into this origin point. And once you do, it's almost like you're climbing a DNA spiraling staircase that opens up more and more with each level. And yet, with each stepping stone, it gets narrower and narrower as well, because you're realizing that from the narrow point, everything came out of. And you are that point as well. It's not from it, it is of it. And now you are willing at this point to dissolve this perception of coming from a certain dimension, or coming from a certain star system, or coming from a certain planet, or even coming from source. Now feel yourself, that you're truly ready to embrace yourself as Source itself, so that you can create within this infinitely logical and divine love, fusion, orientation of all life and creation, and exist within that. Then purity of truth. It's not a truth that is being told to you. It's not a truth that you can find in scriptures or words and logical explanations. It is simply the organic way of life, and life being the reason for life itself. And as you are ready to explore within this cosmic staircase, this stairway, you're simply having a myriad of multidimensional experiences which are simultaneous. They're not fragmented. So even that, any illusion of fragmentation, you can now feel dissolving. And you're now refusing to be told anything about yourself or the nature of your capabilities and what you can or cannot achieve. Because it is not about achievement here in this state of pure source consciousness that becomes the expression of the galactic proportions and beyond as it moves into the life as you know it, as creation, as experience. Beyond that is simply source. There's no creation, but there also is creation. And so when you want to experience yourself as a part of that co-creator with that divine creation self, your desire is focused upon the heart that is limitless. It's the heart of God. It's the heart of creation itself. It's the heart of unity. Union literally means you in you. You in you. You are already within you completely, whole and always complete. And you're now also willing to dissolve any patterns and imprints about a state of incompletion, which produces constant repetition and recycling of energy because of the perception of completion itself that is artificially created, and something that is finite and final. And see yourself becoming more expanding. So it's almost like you're expanding beyond those confines, beyond those lines, those false perceptions. And you're drifting more and more into that liquid light essence of your source self. Truly ready to become your divine co-creator, to co-create these beautiful, beautiful cosmic visions and imprints of life. Not the imprints of egoic tendencies that are artificial and based on the mind perceptions, but to just become further and further illusions that need to be fed with more and more illusion. Here you are the essence of truth. Here you are the essence of divine love. Here you are the essence of pure creation. Here you are, you as you. Now call upon the aspect of you that is your higher self, that knows always where you are, how you are, what you need to create, so that it sustains yourself and the whole in a natural, organic way, which is self-creative, self-sustaining, self-interdependent, and interdependent with all the other aspects of source and creation. See that as a vast living organism that walks in unison, that without this unity, you're not truly creating. You perhaps are creating on a very limited level and manifestation, but true creation begins in unity. And you are ready to take that next step into this new, unknown, and yet ancient and always known, always at its core, always the truth. And know that this aspect is bringing you forth the light language and the information and all the creativity waves you need to receive, to create within this new creation cycle. To create, not as in recreation of yourself on always the same level, it's just energy recycling, but a new renewal of life, a new birthing, always. And always already whole into itself, always already complete, even if there is a perception of stages and completions and variations and different modules and methods. Let that go. Everything is already whole into itself. Every step, every pathway, everything is a part of this spiral of life that leads you into a multidimensional galactic awareness and the embodiment of your true core creation self in your source awareness. And that is the only truth you're now willing to accept, and knowing that your relationship with it, not to it, but within it, will be organic, will be intimate, will be you receiving always through you, as you. Nothing forced upon, nothing imprinted, nothing that would not already be whole within itself as the completion and perfection of you. May you be blessed with this knowing and walk the sacred path of life as your spiraling self, your multidimensional galactic self, your infinitely creative essence of source, with love, wisdom, and power as your sacred heart essence, your sacred fire burning brightly within every now moment. And so it is.